Hello, hello. Welcome to the Big Bad Marketing Podcast. I'm Janae.
And I am Brooke, and we are two entrepreneurs jumping headfirst into building a business.
We're marketers and we're content creators at heart. And in this podcast, we help small business owners learn how to play big with their marketing efforts, even with a small business budget.
So if you're ready to make big bad moves in your professional life, this podcast is for you. Welcome to episode 10. What goes into building a brand? So, you're a business. You've got some clients, maybe some sales, maybe a little bit of revenue, maybe even some profit. But you're starting to realize that the things you are doing for your business are feeling a little disjointed. So, what does it mean to build a succinct brand? What does it mean to build a recognizable brand? So, the obvious place to start with that is what is a brand? Is it just a logo? Because if I have that, I'm good to go, right?
Oh, yes, it has the word go in it. But I think it probably means you're on the right track. So, a brand is going to be every part of your businesses personality, output, external, and often internal communications. It's, I'd like to describe it more as an intangible. It's this kind of like, who are you? But for your brand, right? Like when you answer, who are you? Like you say what your job is and you say what your family's name are and like things that you like. But there's also this unspoken part of who you are that comes out through the talking about who you are. And that's, I think, what distinguishes a brand just from like, I have a business and a logo. So it's going to be having some of those pillars, those more practical things, a tagline, a logo, a clear brand name. And then in the business, we often outline and describe what does our brand voice and personality sound like? How do we write about things? How do we describe things? So it would be the sort of tone of your business and then colors, but it's also going to be those other big picture questions that help to build the emotional connection that you have with your audience so that they relate with you like they might relate with a friend. So like, who are you and what do you stand for? Who do you serve? How your brand shows the value that you can bring and what your values are.
Yeah, I love to think of a brand as how people feel about your company. So you have how people think about you. So, oh, yes, that company sells t-shirts. But your brand would be, oh, yeah, that company is cool. They have really interesting designs. They're super creative and artistic. They're kind of edgy. And that is sort of the picture that you're building when you're building a brand is how do you want people to talk about you? So when we think about brands, what are some of those sort of well-known brands, Janae, that you feel like do a really awesome job at this?
Okay, so we were talking a little bit earlier about a grocery store trip, but gotta put Trader Joe's on the list. There's this really cohesive experience every time I interact with Trader Joe's and or Trader Joe's related content, which, I don't think they're huge in the digital space, but they do have a clear outline of their products and they even list like the ingredients in each product. So you can find all of the things they're selling, which makes it easy for consumers. And then when you get there, just from the moment you walk in, there's like flowers outside and all the colors and the signage. And as you walk around, all of the things match in font, in size, in style. And then when you put a character or a person in the store, they too carry that same vibe and the style, the personality of Trader Joe's, right? Like at the checkout line, I go to grocery store A and they're like, hello, how are you? And when I go to Trader Joe's, they're like, oh my gosh, I love this too. Wait, have you tried the other version of this in this other size and flavor? Like, you're going to love it. And the whole experience is just like this well crafted, curated journey for me. And I'm a marketer, so I like sort of know what to look for, but it's kind of, it comes natural. The way it feels is just like really natural.
Trader Joe's is one for me too. And it's so funny that you said that because yesterday I was at Trader Joe's and picked up some cacio e pepe ravioli. And the guy at the checkout goes, so what kind of sauce do you normally pair this with? Do you do it with butter? And I was like, oh, sometimes we do red sauce. And he goes, you've got to try it with the top truffle Alfredo sauce. If it's a big miss if you haven't done that. And I'm like, okay, so now mentally I'm like, well, got to go back to Trader Joe's in the next couple of days because I'm going to buy me some of that truffle Alfredo sauce. But it really is that cohesive brand experience. And if I go to a Trader Joe's in Charleston or if I go to one in Miami, I know that I am going to have a consistent experience. The people are going to be kind, the store is going to be clean, the products are going to be great quality. So obviously, this is a lot about a physical space. When we talk about the digital world, it would be crazy not to talk about Amazon and how well they do as a brand. I just
Sure.
saw a commercial on TV last night when we were watching football that was about Amazon Health, where it had the video call with a doctor and how they will ship the prescriptions to your house. And my first thought was, I bet that's a really great service because Amazon has proved its efficiency and affordability with everything. So why not dive into healthcare? And I would be actually down to try that in a way that I would probably be skeptical if other brands did it. But Amazon just over the years has built this brand that is so synonymous with helping improve people's lives and make things easier that it's like a no-brainer. Another one
This
that
is,
comes to mind for me would be Apple. I think their
mhm.
products and obviously you either love or you hate Apple, but at the end of the day, you know it's going to be sleek, you know it's going to be the latest and greatest, you know that they're going to be innovative. They have those conferences when they do the product rollouts. They're always ahead of the curve. And so that's another brand that it's like every time you buy from them, it is a consistent brand experience. Every time you go into an Apple store, you know that you're going to get the most trained and educated people. So these are obviously big brands, but can you emulate small aspects of the things that they're doing so that people one day speak about your brand in a similar way?
Sure. And that's exactly right because if you are a solopreneur or you run a small business, right? You might not have a storefront even. You might be someone who goes on house calls and your work is at their house, right? Installing fences. So how can you pull in these different aspects of creating a cohesive brand experience, even when you don't even have a physical location or a product, right? And that's what we want you to be thinking about as you're listening to this and as you're building out your own brand.
Yes. So we can roughly break down the brand into some of the more tangible elements and then kind of these more intangibles that you have to be more intentional about building. So when we think of the tangible elements of a brand, the things that are pretty obvious, your name, that is the number one branding mechanism that you have. And what are people going to think about your name? So here at Big Bad Marketing, we want to convey that we are going to help you play big with your marketing efforts. We're going to encourage you to get a little bit more bold. And so hopefully that comes through in our name and by the way that we did our logo and our font to be big, bold colors. So your name, your logo, and your font should all sort of work together to make sense. So when someone sees it, they'll say, oh, yeah, this tracks. Trader Joe's. Oh, yeah, tropical, Hawaiian. This tracks.
Sure. And the voice and tone are so important in that too, because, okay, you have like our big, bold letters, big, bad marketing, the name, right? Like the colors, it's really pops, the font, all of that. And then imagine you get to our site and it's like, hello, we're so glad you're here. Thank you for visiting our website. We can help you make your website better, right? Like, no, our style is punchy and we're like, yeah, we're going to kick it up a notch and it has to create that consistency so that every part of it is like it's like a fine meal that you've created where all of the pieces accent each other and play off of each other, the flavors work together, right? That's kind of how you want to see your brand, is like everything works together and makes sense.
Yes. And with every additional marketing channel that you roll out, you want to ensure the consistency. So, episode 9, all about email marketing. If you're shifting into email, you need to make sure that those emails are branded with your logo, that they're using the appropriate font, that you have the right color scheme, and that the voice makes sense because you don't want somebody to go to your website and it's big bad marketing and then they get an email and it's meek and submissive and maybe you could buy this, but you definitely don't have to buy this, then that would be okay with us.
Right. Or different colors and different fonts. And it's sort of like, is this even from the same company?
Yes.
Like any of those pieces, like pick whichever ones you want. They all have to match.
Yes. So I think a really great way to do this and a thought exercise when you start to build your brand, and this probably comes even before these tangible elements, but think about your values, think about your mission and your vision and what you want to convey. So maybe your core value is humor. So you decide that your brand is going to be funny and your tagline is going to be humorous and your colors and your fonts are going to be a little bit more fun and happy and vibrant. So sit down and really think deeply about those things before you even begin to build out your brand elements. And always consider your audience in that too. Who are you trying to attract? And more importantly, who do you want to be sure to repel? So if you have a
Ooh.
brand that is selling a luxury high-end men's clothing, you probably want to repel anybody that would be looking for like cheap cotton t-shirts, right? So it's like talk to the audience that you want, build your brand around the audience that you're speaking to.
Yes. And again, in terms of big bad marketing, I think we're looking to work with people who are willing to take bold steps, to be loud, to show their face and stand up tall, right? And be like, hey, I'm here. Check me out, yo. Versus if you and that's where it has to really tie in as well in a thoughtful way with your product or service, because we're marketers. We're like, hey, we're going to help people get eyes on you. We are going to help you get eyes on yourself, right? So we have to be able to do it. We have to demonstrate that we know how to do that through our branding. Where if you're a lawyer, right? It's a different product and service, or a real estate agent, or you sell cakes, right? Like these are all different things, and your branding has to reflect that because your audience is going to be different, yes, but also maybe if you're a lawyer, you don't want to be as like big bad colors and loud, punchy phrasing, right? Like you want to be more well educated and clear and guiding. So all of these things are really going to come together, and it's important, I think, as we repeat over and over, to think through the end and the beginning, right? Like, who are you talking to? Are they going to want to buy this product?
Yes. And as you think through the key aspects of a brand, I would highly encourage you to journal about this, to talk it out with a friend, family member, business partner, mentor. Like, don't feel like you have to craft your entire brand alone. If you want a third party team of marketing experts to help you, we will do three free 30-minute consultation calls where we can sort of talk about the elements of your brand and what you have so far and the direction that you want to go, just to be sure that you're on track. But building a brand isn't something that is just going to pop up out of nowhere and it's all going to make sense. You're really going to have to intentionally work at it and making sure that these pieces fit together, especially as you grow, especially as you bring more people onto your team. You really want to instill those core values of your brand to anybody that works at your business to ensure that ultimately your audience is having that cohesive experience no matter how they interact with you.
Yes. And right back to the Trader Joe's example. This is not a sponsored Trader Joe's ad, by the way, but we are just like, we love what they're doing and they're doing a great job. And when you do a great job, people talk about you. But in terms of hiring, they also have these values in mind and these styles and their brand identity in mind when they do those hires. I don't know for sure, but I know it because they must be keeping those things in mind because, like we said, they're asking us questions. They don't even be like, hi, how are you? How's your day going? They're just right in it with, like, oh my gosh, I love these chocolates. Yes, good choice. Try these other ones. And like you said, they're telling you about other products, which that's a whole other angle to come at. Like you're promoting your other products as you see what people like and then getting them to buy again without feeling salesy, right? That's like primo work. But the people who work there are selected because it's obvious that they're friendly, they're jovial, they're bubbly, and they're easy to talk to. So that's who they want to represent their brand because it matches with what their brand is. Where at a law firm, you probably want someone who's a little more reserved, who makes calm, thoughtful, um, comments when they're interacting with you and is just direct but straightforward and professional, right? So these are all like part of that process is how and who you're going to interact with.
Yep. And I think that is pretty much all there is to say about building a brand. It is a holistic endeavor across all of your marketing efforts, across the tangible elements like your name, your logo, your tagline, colors, fonts, and tone. And then it's also those really critical intangibles, your identity, your personality, your audience, and your story. So think about all of that. And in the blog post for this episode, we'll give you a brief template of things to think about and to kind of work your way through journaling and consider. And hopefully that can help you as you move forward into making your brand a reality.
Hey, yo. So, one last question is your brand like a fixed thing? What's your stance on this? Do you think it just has to be whatever you say it is and that's it?
For all time, forever.
Yes.
No, brands can evolve over time. You've probably heard of a brand refresh audience, and major brands even go through this sometimes. And some of them are really positive. Some of them are somewhat questionable. Like, what was that car brand, Jaguar, that
Hmm.
recently went through that very wild and interesting rebrand that sort of took them away from this luxury car market and into this other place where I'm not really sure where they were headed. Weight Watchers rebranded to WW. That was a really well-known one. So I think as you grow and change and your audience changes and your offerings might pivot, don't be afraid to sort of tweak your brand. And if you need to do a large scale brand refresh, maybe you started your business as the landscape guys, and now you're moved beyond landscaping and you're doing all of the exterior home services, and you spun up a roofing division, and now you want to sort of craft this new brand that encompasses this bigger, more robust business that you are. That's a great time to rethink this, do a new logo, do a new name, and then reach out to your existing audience and say, hey, by the way, we did a facelift. Here's what we look like now.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to grow and evolve as, especially like you said, as your offerings change. You have to keep your brand aligned with that, which maybe means letting some pieces of it go and adapting and updating as you move forward.